Okay, so here's a quick 3 minutes on the accordion style play mode configuration. So if I go ahead into the main menu and I go to play modes and I take a look at the one in the middle here, it's called accordion style. This is the one that allows the maximum configuration for a digital accordion, which includes the manipulation of the styles on the SD-90. So if I go in there, we'll kind of go through each of these very quickly. So the first one is there are sort of two types of accordions. One is your standard international accordion, and this could be your Stradella, your freebase. Probably the accordions most of you are familiar with. And then there's another variation that uses a slightly different left hand, where there's, I think, a major and a minor row associated with the bass and the counterbasses in addition to the chord rows that fall below it. So that's what that setting is for. This setting turns drums on a left hand, for which you can then assign 2 drum components per bass and chords. So this actually operates very similar to the internals of an 8-ax, except of course obviously you're doing it through the SD-90. So this allows you to enable and disable these guys, and you can also lower the volumes to 0 if you only wanted to use, let's say, 1 drum per bass and 1 drum per chord. On the from the volume standpoints, we have sort of 2 modes. You've got your velocity sensitive right hand, so soft, medium, and hard relate to be equivalent to your touch sensitivity associated with it. So obviously hard will require less pressure to generate a harder or louder velocity. Soft requires a lot more key pressure in order to generate the same volume. And then fixed allows you to have a fixed velocity without any touch sensitivity associated with the hand, for which you can fix what you want that velocity to be. As you can see, I'm changing the right hand fixed velocity from here. All of these are independent of expression. So in addition to this, you can always enable expression, which allows the bellows to be able to then control the volume of the sound after the initial attack of the sound has been established by one of these methods. Exact same thing for the left hand. You've got soft, medium, and hard from a velocity sensing perspective, and then you've got a fixed velocity. Bass to chord is a nice feature, so I'm actually going to show you this one here. So what I'm going to do is, what this does is when you're running a style and you press a bass without a chord, the bass on a lot of arrangers, including this, can follow that pattern or that chord progression without the quality being defined. So if you played a C major and then you hit a D bass, it would play a D bass without the third or the fifth installed. I don't particularly care for that because I want to play basses along with it. So let me just show you real quick. I'll just give you a little, I think this is a tango running in the background. So with the basses, where they're not driving the chords, right? As I now play the basses, you'll see that the chord itself doesn't move with me, and that's what I like. That's what I prefer. If you turn that on, now as I make changes to the bass row, so you can hear that change occurring with it, right? And that's with it off. Then there's also a manual. There's a manual button on the front, which when hit, completely allows you the automatic basses to stop playing, and you then take over and you have control. So for example, you can't see this on my screen. I'm gonna press it here. I'll tell you when. So here you can hear the sort of the little bass run that's occurring. That's the SD-90 doing that, right? Now when I press manual, there's no bass because it's waiting for me. Now I'm gonna play it. So that's me playing the basses there. right? Now, if you didn't want to hear the chords, you could also kill that too. So that's what this button does. So it's just drums. Have bass on stop. What that allows you to do is typically when you are when the arranger is running, and if you have the automatic bass playing, then when you press a bass with your left hand, you won't hear what you're pressing. But if you want to be able to, either through an intro or during an ending, be able to play the bass when your intro or ending is stopped, that's what that function does. So you'll see, you hear the automatic bass playing, and even though I'm playing basses with my left hand, you don't hear it. But as soon as I shut it off, my basses are now reactive to my playing. Okay, and then this is obviously sustained for your left hand. Again, changeable for your basses. Which octave you're playing at. Turn that drum off. Right? And then this lower one and lower two are the octaves associated with what you have for your style, for that particular style that you're playing. So in this case, it's a tango, and you'll see that in my lower one, I've got a soft pad here and a piano. So as I play, I'll actually mute. Right. So there's the pad. You can hear that. And there's the piano. The octaves associated with that can be changed here. That's what this is for, right? I can change these octaves in the style parameter, but I can also change them if I choose here in the configuration for, right? That's what these are. So again, I can raise and lower. Oops. Why did I lose that? Did I mute them? Oh, they're muted. That's why. Okay, I got it. Okay. That happens sometimes, you know. It's a good way to learn the unit is when things go wrong, and then you have to figure out what's happening. So now I've got them playing again. So that's what I wanted. So now if I go ahead back into my menu and I go into my play modes, and now I go ahead and I adjust this. If you listen carefully, you can hear the pad. All right. And then this would be the piano. Okay, and so that kind of covers some of the features here of the primary configuration menu on the SD-90 as it relates to configuring a digital accordion when it's connected and in full control of the arranger.